Go inside the Crimson Tide with your hosts Rodney Orr and Gary Harris, keeping you informed on everything Alabama. And now, Tider Insider TV.
Hey, Terrell Lewis will be out indefinitely with a torn ACL. Lewis underwent surgery after he tore his ACL sometime last week while working out. This is a significant injury, his second. Remember, he missed 10 games a year ago after injuring his elbow against Florida State in the season opener. He came back, though, and had a nice stretch there in the end, including that huge sack in the national championship game of Jake Fromm in overtime. He was expected to be an All-American candidate, possibly enter the draft early. 16 tackles in 4 games last season, and as I said, including that big sack against Jake Fromm. Now, other guys got to step it up. Jamie Mosley, Drez Parks, Christian Miller. Obviously, Miller and Anthony Jennings are main guys, but other guys are going to have to step up and pick up the slack for number 24. And good evening, everybody. Welcome into Tider Insider TV, presented each and every week by Buffalo Rock, alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. I'm WVUA 23 Sports Director Gary Harris, and once again tonight we've got Pepsi Zero Sugar Max Taste, 0 sugar and calories. I got a little ice in mine, buddy. Did you get a little ice?
No, I don't think mine.
Put it in the freezer for just a few minutes. Just perfect, though. Remember to pick up some great Pepsi products the next time you're at your local grocery store, especially this Pepsi Zero Sugar. You'll be glad you did. Okay, that's a high point, getting a little refreshment. This is a low point. Listen, I don't know any way to sugarcoat it. I'm not saying that Alabama doesn't have other good football players on defense. They do. But Terrell Lewis had a chance to have a special season. 6'5", over 250 pounds, long arms, great burst, physical presence on the outside coming off the edge. Probably going to miss the season, most likely. I guess could come back, but that would be a heck of a comeback. Usually it's 6 to 9 months for an ACL. This is a blow.
Yeah, you don't lose a guy of his talents, Gary. And look, there's the play he made last year in overtime against Georgia that forced them to kick the field goal. Again, it's kind of started like last season a little bit, and you certainly hope that it doesn't continue. But, Terrell Lewis, obviously a big loss. You mentioned some of the guys that have to kind of step up. You mentioned Christian Miller, who I think was going to get some look inside because of the depth inside. There's some issues. So we'll see if that continues. And, possibly a Yabi Anoma, the true freshman, who's so very talented. I think he's a guy that you should really keep an eye on. He'll get an opportunity. But you mentioned Drez Parks, too. He's had an opportunity to go through spring practice and all that, so he's a little more acclimated. Certainly was a very highly recruited player in his own right. A lot of these young players, Gary, going to have to kind of take that next step.
You hate it for Alabama football, obviously, and as a fan, you think about what it does to the team, but I really hate it for Terrell Lewis because this is a guy who got hurt last year in the season opener, really pushed hard to come back, playing with one arm basically, was looking forward to not only having a big year for Alabama, but showing his wares for the NFL scouts and then probably going on to the draft. He does have that redshirt year, as I mentioned, so I guess it's possible if he came back and played right at the end of the season, not that he's going to be around that much longer anyway, but you would think now, if he misses the whole year, he'd probably have to come back for 2019.
Yeah, it's got to be really tough for a guy like that, as talented as he is, and the expectations that he had, Gary. And think about this. He comes in as a true freshman, very highly regarded, played some, not a lot, and then he's got the expectations last year, and he gets injured in the first game against Florida State, misses the year up until the Auburn game. So he missed virtually the entire season last year, and now here we go again. So he really hasn't played much since he's been here.
And another linebacker dismissed yesterday from the team, Vandarius Cowan. More on that coming up in a moment. But let's get to recruiting. It's summertime. Nick Saban's been taking some vacation, but boy, still busy on the recruiting trail. This number 1 ranked class so far for 2019 got better last week. The commitments keep rolling in. 3 new 4-star recruits announcing they'll join the Crimson Tide. That's 20 total commitments for 2019. The recruits included defensive lineman Byron Young out of Mississippi, wide receiver John Mechie, now from New Jersey. He's transferring there, and tight end Jaleel Billingsley from Chicago. Ronnie, what can you tell me about these 3 recruits? Let's get it started with the 4-star defensive lineman Byron Young from West Jones High School in Laurel, Mississippi.
I think he's big time, Gary. I think he's going to be a great player. Reminds me a little bit of a young Dalvin Tomlinson. He's very, very strong. I think he's got a lot of versatility. Again, I think when you look at him, you think Dalvin Tomlinson. So I think it's a big pickup. Alabama priority needs defensive linemen. They're doing a fantastic job. I think that they've got a chance to have the #1 defensive line class in the country. #1 class overall, but the defensive line class really impressive.
And in John Mechie, you get a 4-star wide receiver that chose a tide over Penn State, had played in that mid-Atlantic area, now transferring up to New Jersey. But this is what you're looking for at wide receiver. Originally from Canada, but he's got size, he's got speed. I think yesterday on my radio show you said he reminds you of Ardarius Stewart maybe a little bit with the physicality.
Well, a little bit because he's physical. He plays safety like Ardarius did a little bit in high school. You remember Ardarius spent a few days here as a safety, and he just kind of has that physical mindset. He's got great ball skills, goes up, gets the ball, look at him here. Did you see that blow he laid on that guy?
Yeah.
I mean, so he's not afraid of contact. Again, you mentioned he's got solid speed, good speed. You saw him go up and get the ball a while ago. Looked a little bit like Kevin Norwood, the way he went up. So I really like John Mechie. I think he's a very solid player.
And the third commitment from last week, Alabama looks to really throw the football a lot in upcoming seasons. Not that they won't continue to run it, but they want some tight ends, and they've had them, but they want guys that can get down the field in the passing game. Jaleel Billingsley from Chicago is a guy that can do that. 6'4", 216. Probably needs to add a little weight, but he is athletic and he can run.
About the same size as maybe Miller Forstall was going into his senior year in high school, maybe about similar size to O.J. Howard coming out of high school. Again, he's very athletic, Gary. I think he was laser timed at 4.6 in the 40, which is outstanding. You mentioned his athleticism. He can line up outside and catch the ball, do things. I like Billingsley. I think he's a guy that could play a lot of different roles. Again, he's a little bit different than some of the other guys, maybe the younger guys like a Major Tennyson or a Kedrick James, those bigger guys. He kind of is the more maybe in the Miller Forstall mold in terms of the size.
So 3 more for the class of 2019. Alabama with 20 total commitments. Get on board in a hurry because that train may leave you at the station if you don't. All right, back to the linebacker situation. Yesterday, Alabama announcing that sophomore inside backer Vandarius Cowan dismissed from the squad because of a violation of team rules. He was arrested last month after he allegedly punched a 26-year-old man at a Tuscaloosa bar. He was charged by the Tuscaloosa Police Department with misdemeanor assault. The 19-year-old is from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, and was ranked the #4 outside linebacker in the nation in the 2017 class, according to 24/7 Sports. Cowan played in 7 games as a freshman and was a contender for some minutes this season at inside linebacker. Again, Rodney, not to harp on the obvious, but in terms of depth, at the inside linebacker position, this is a hit. Now, Coach Saban had to do what he had to do, and this is a guy who'd had some previous issues even in high school, but he will be missed in terms of that inside linebacker spot.
The potential that he had, yeah certainly. I do think that, Gary. And, again, would he have contributed this year? There was a possibility, I think, certainly because of the depth issues. But, that is a concern heading into August camp will be the depth at inside backer.
Well, he's gone. We hope, though, he lands on his feet and gets a second chance somewhere else. Coming up, Alabama got some big recruits on the football field, as we told you, but basketball got a big-time recruit last week as well. Learn more about the newest soon-to-be member of the Tide Hoops team. And coming up, we'll be getting your phone calls, emails, and tweets. I understand, Rodney, the phones have been ringing off the hook already. 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. Call now to get in line or email us at the address on your screen, or you can tweet at us. Make sure you use the hashtag TITV so we see your tweet. We'll be right back with the show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider TV will return after this break. Former Bama point guard Collin Sexton taken 8th overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers in this year's draft, and he inked his new contract last week. The rookie point guard signed his first contract with the team on Wednesday of last week. It's a 4-year deal worth up to $20.2 million. He averaged 19.2 points for the Crimson Tide and was chosen as the SEC Newcomer of the Year and Co-Freshman of the Year. He had the most points ever by a Tide freshman and the 3rd highest amount in Crimson Tide history with 632 total points. Welcome back in to Tider Insider TV. I'm Gary Harris along with Rodney Orr. And after signing his contract, Collin Sexton wasted no time to get on the court for the Cavs, making his pro debut at the Las Vegas Summer League. He started his Summer League debut with a win against the Wizards, in which he scored 15 points and had 7 rebounds. They lost the Bulls in his second game, but he had 14 points and 2 assists. And his third game on Monday was by far his best this summer. He led the Cavs to win over the Pacers with 21 points. He's averaging 16.7 points, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds in his first 3 games. That's pretty good. Well, football was not the only sport to grab some key recruiting news at the capstone last week for 2019 as Deontay Smith announced on Twitter his verbal commitment to Alabama. He did it with one of those videos. The 3-star wing from Choctawhatchee High School in Fort Walton Beach, DJ Hall School, in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, becomes the first commitment for the Tide for this new basketball class. He averaged 17.5 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 1.9 steals a game during his junior season. He's number 9 as a recruit in the state of Florida and 122 nationally, according to 24/7 Sports. Rodney, you know, basketball is a little bit different. You don't have the numbers, obviously, so really commitments in recruiting is even more vital because you can't make as many mistakes. This is a guy that is athletic, can run. He's kind of that new wave of player, can play 3 different positions. Looks like a nice pickup as Avery Johnson continues to try to rebuild this program.
Right?
Yeah,
real good start, I think. And again, I think Avery Johnson's making his presence felt on the recruiting trail. I know there's some other guys, Gary, that we're going to be talking about later in a couple of weeks or maybe sooner that I think that you're going to find that's going to end up at Alabama as well. I think he's kind of putting together a really good class, it looks like right now. So I think that's a great start. 2
in-state recruits that Alabama in particular has a lot of interest in. All right, the University of Alabama men's and women's head tennis coaches, George Husak and Jenny Mines, hosted the Intercollegiate Tennis Association Summer Circuit event this past weekend. The ITA circuit features 49 tournaments spread across the nation. Alabama men's tennis player Edson Ortiz won the singles tournament after beating William Piekarski from Indiana University in the championship. Ortiz also won the doubles tournament with fellow Tide teammate Sam Fisher. Alabama women's tennis player Andy Daniel also participated in the tournament in which she won the singles main draw over Ali Boschuk of Notre Dame. She, however, fell in the championship of the doubles main draw, losing to second-seeded Boschuk and Suzanne Zanoni of Elon University. And a trio of Alabama golfers helped USA to a victory at the Arnold Palmer Cup in France. Alabama women's golfers Lauren Stevenson and Kristen Gilman and Bama men's golfer Davis Riley all represented the USA in the tournament over the weekend. Kristen Gilman was the lone Alabama golfer to win her singles match and ended the tournament 3-1. Lauren Stevenson dropped a 1-up decision to Albane Valenzuela in her singles match and finished the tournament 2-1-1. Davis Riley finished 2-2 in the tournament and fell in his singles match 3-2 to Jovan Rabulia, who happens to play at Auburn. Alabama women's golf signee also participated in the international team in the match. And it was also a great weekend for former Alabama women's golfer Emma Talley. She shot a 20 under par at the Thornberry Creek LPGA Classic for a 3rd place finish, and she is off and running as a professional golfer. Well, coming up next, we'll be welcoming your phone calls, emails, and tweets. You'll see the information again on your screen. Call in now at 348-9882, or you can email us or reach us on social media. We'll be back with your phone calls. Tider Insider Nation, we want to hear from you next when we continue right after this. Alabama will have a new voice in the radio broadcast booth this coming fall. As Phil Savage announced last week, he'll step down as the Tide's color analyst. He spent 9 seasons as the color commentator alongside play-by-play man, the legendary Eli Gold. Savage announced the news on social media and that he is wanting to focus on his new role as general manager of the Phoenix franchise of the Alliance of American Football League. His replacement has yet to be named, but a lot of former players are very interested. All right, Rodney, let's head to the phone lines. They're lined up for us. First up is Jane in Tuscaloosa. Good evening, Jane. How are you?
This evening.
Hey, Jane.
Hi, how are y'all?
Very well. Go ahead.
Okay, I have 2 different questions. My first question is, okay, they have put Bandarius Cowan off the team for the assault. There has been other players that have had other charges, drugs, guns, DUIs, different things, and Coach Saban has let them come back and play pending the outcome of their trial. First of all, why would he not let Bandarius have?
All right, Jane. Let me. First of all, I can't speak for Coach Saban. Every situation is different. Bandarius Cowan has had some other issues since he's been at the university. Coach Saban will tell you he judges every case on an individual basis. They made the decision that his violation of team rules was the end of the story, and he said that he's off the team. That's all I can tell you. The buck stops with Coach Saban. He made the call. Each case is different. There may be other players that get in trouble. He has, as I said before, had some issues and has stayed on the team. This time, though, he's off the team. What was your second question?
question is, will Jalen Hurts get to be quarterback this year, and will we see some playing time from Jerry Jeudy and Najee Harris this year?
All right, Jane. Yeah, Jalen Hurts will compete with Tua Tagovailoa for that starting quarterback position. Probably will play even if he's not the starter. Same way if he's the starter, Tua will play. Najee Harris is going to play a lot. Jerry Jeudy are going to play a lot. Those are two freshmen along with Tua Tagovailoa from last season that made a big impact in that national championship game.
And I want to go back to something on Van Der Esch.
Okay, go right ahead, Rodney.
During the recruiting process, Alabama, he got dismissed from his high school team. He had some issues in high school. There was a long, drawn-out process in terms of making the decision whether or not to allow him to follow through with his commitment signed with Alabama. Alabama, I don't know any other way to put it, maybe went out on a little bit of a limb with him due to his circumstances in the past. And you know what? He's had a few, like you said, issues. And I think at some point you have to make that decision.
But we wish him well going forward. And I think that he'll get an opportunity somewhere else. Hopefully, Jane, he makes the best of it. Thanks for the call. Let's go to Bessemer and talk with our pal John. John, what's up, man?
What's going on, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, man, I'm ready for Alabama to kick off, buddy. Got y'all?
Yeah, we are. What's
Hey,
up?
man, this is the reason I called, man. Somebody told me Alabama can sign 27. Is that true?
You know what, John? There's a lot of talk around maybe 27, 28. I'm not really exactly sure what the number is. You always hear these numbers at this time of the year, but I would not be surprised, definitely, if they signed over 25.
All right, Little, you stay on the line. We're going to get to you. We've got some emails as well, so we'll come back with more phone calls, emails, and tweets. There's the number again if you want to get through. The Tighter Insider program will continue right after this timeout. It's time for our Green Track Bama Bingo Trivia Question of the Week. You can answer the question on the WVUA 23 Facebook page. That's the only way you can answer. Don't try to call in here. And you'll have an opportunity to win a Green Track Bama Bingo Free Play Power Pack. You don't want to miss this opportunity. Another great question. Who holds the Alabama record for most touchdown passes in a single game? Now, this is for a game, not for a season or a career. Your possibilities are A.J. McCarron, Jalen Hurts, Gary Hollingsworth, or Mike Shula. Again, who holds the Alabama record for most touchdown passes in a single game? This is a good one, isn't it, Rodney? I bet a lot of people are going to miss this one. McCarron, Hurts, Hollingsworth, or Shula. Go to our Facebook page to answer that question for a chance to win in our Green Track Bama Bingo contest. And right now, we're going to go right back to the phones. Little is with us in Havana. Hey, Little, thanks for holding. How are you?
Hey guys, yeah, I got a little comment. It's Little Kenny.
Okay.
Not little, but Little Kenny. But I wanted to make a comment about the class, the lack of class as I see it among Tide fans and commentators in regards to the quarterback struggle. I don't know how to define class. But when I see it, I know Jalen Hurts has got it flowing out the top, and Maxine Waters has absolutely none. So let's just remember.
All right, Little King, your point's well taken. I'm with you. I think Rodney will agree, too, that Jalen Hurts has got a lot of class. And I think most of Alabama fans have showed a lot of appreciation toward Jalen and support him. There are always going to be a few that maybe don't carry themselves in a great fashion, and maybe they make some noise on social media or on a radio show or something like that. But I guarantee you, Little King, most Alabama fans that I know support Jalen Hurts. They support Tua Tagovailoa. They support Mac Jones. They support all the Alabama football players. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Well, yeah, absolutely, Gary. And I think I've said this before. I think the quarterback at Alabama, it's probably the most visible, difficult position to play. I think in all of college sports, that's just me. Being close to it. But this is really nothing different. I mean, we've seen it, Gary, since the 70s. It was, Stedman Shealy and Jeff Rutledge, Tyler Watson, Andrew Zhao. I mean, anytime you have two quarterbacks competing,
Billy Ray and Jeff Dunn. Goes on and on. Vince Sutton and Mike Shula. It's just part of it. But the fans at Alabama are good fans. But we appreciate your thoughts there, Little King. All right, email that we want to get to from Bradley and Hoover. Rodney, do you think Alex Leatherwood will start at one of the offensive tackle spots this season? It's a good question. He played well, but we've got both tackles returning from last season as starters. So what do you make of it?
Yeah, it's really hard to say, Gary, because because, you know, he did in spring as the starter at right tackle. Of course, Matt Womack, the returning starter, was out with the foot injury. And, you know, Alex Leatherwood certainly has an opportunity. I still think that when we get into early camp, as always, we're going to see some experimenting, so we could continue to see some things on the offensive line that maybe didn't end up spring the same way. In other words, I think we'll continue to see some changes on the offensive line, experiments as we move along.
Nice to have 3 really good tackles and others on that team, though, as well. All right, one more quick email from Melissa in Tuscaloosa. Do you guys think Raekwon Davis will go to the NFL after this season? It's a good question. Rodney, I think there's a pretty good chance if he has a good year. He certainly has the size and athleticism that you look for, but we kind of have to wait and see how the season plays out.
You do have to wait and see. You never really know, but I guarantee you what, Gary, if he keeps progressing like he did towards the end of the year, Raekwon Davis could be a very, very high pick.
All right, thanks for the phone calls. Thanks for the emails. Always love hearing from Tider Insider Nation, and we'll be back for more TITV right after this. Former Alabama women's basketball star Hannah Cook signed her first professional contract over the weekend. She'll suit up overseas for Sporting Athens in Athens, Greece. The 6-foot guard is 8th on the all-time scoring list at Alabama, 4th all-time in three-point scoring, and she can really shoot it. And that's what they look for overseas. Ladies that can pop that net. Head coach Dana Duckworth has announced the addition of All-American and NCAA regional champion Asia Sims to the Alabama gymnastics staff as a volunteer assistant coach. Sims was a balance beam and floor exercise All-American during her college career, helping lead the Crimson Tide to back-to-back SEC titles and 4 consecutive NCAA Super 6 finishes. A 4-year Scholastic All-American, she earned both President's and Dean's List honors throughout her Alabama career. Congratulations to Asia. Our beautiful shirts provided this week again by the Locker Room in downtown Tuscaloosa, home of the original Elephant Wear. You can go by and see Alex and Rush and the staff there in person downtown, or shop online at their website, locker-room.biz. Yes, they've got the original Elephant Wear just in time for football, but they've got other great men's and women's clothing. As I like to say, if you want to look like $1 million, you don't have to spend $1 million to do it. You just got to go by and see the folks at the Locker Room. All right, that is going to do it for the program. Don't forget that if you missed the show, you can catch an encore presentation tonight at 10:30 after the news at 10 right here on WVUA23.com, or you can catch it on WVUA23, or you can catch it anytime on WVUA23.com. So for Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, everybody.